Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich. Kev will be joining us very, very shortly, but we're here to react to Aston Villa 1, Crystal Palace 0. And it wasn't the greatest of games, but back-to-back wins, back-to-back clean sheets, and still 11th in the table, unfortunately, but certainly looking up rather than down. I think there's a 7-point gap between us and Palace, who are, I think, 6 points now off the relegation zone. So, yeah, definitely want to push forward into that top 10. We've got games that we can definitely win over the next few weeks. We're going to be going through, obviously, the game. Key injury to one of our best players and how we're going to react to Kamara being out, hope probably for the next few weeks. One or two players that might not be quite clicking in the Emery formation, but yeah, get your comments in. What are your thoughts on the win today? How do you think it sets us up for the rest of the season? How are we going to cope with the Kamara injury? I've also put pinned the link to come on the show if anybody would like to join us. It's pinned at the top, so do click that if you want to join us. And as always, please do leave a like on the video. Hit the subscribe button if you are new to the channel, and we do have a super chat function. So if you want to click, I think it's like the $sign. If you want to click that, then please do. Helps us support the channel. Any donation is phenomenal. Rich is joining us. He says, "Evening all, big 3 points, absolutely, Rich." Kev is backstage, so I will get him in now. Evening, my friend.
Hello, Richard.
Kids, eh?
Yeah, you'll never guess what. I'll give you the actual, you and the listeners, the actual truth. My hot tap's broken, so I went to wash my hands. And the kids have been messing with the shower tap thing. So when I turned the tap on, I just got so off in time. So basically 2 minutes for the podcast, I was drenched. So quick change. And here I am, ready to talk about a scruffy victory.
Yeah,
like me.
yeah. Nice one. I don't know if my internet's a little bit playing up a little bit, but I think we're good. I think we are good. Yeah, so I was just saying before we came on, mate, not the greatest of games. You were obviously there today. Obviously, but an important 3 points nonetheless.
Well, I was actually thinking this early on the way back from the game. I can't really remember many times this season when I've come away from the game thinking, God, we played really well today, the whole game. I mean, even like, even like the home wins against Brentford and Man United, like with first half masterclass, and then, not much happened in the other halves from memory. When we've had a lot of wins on the road under Emery, it's just been kind of like fairly, at times, turgid, slow, but, you can always spin that into being controlled. It's a fantastic sign to win games when you're not playing well. And I think that's a really, really important thing. But it's still a bit unconvincing. I'm sure we'll go into a bit to that. But the thought process of many Villa fans was, can we follow up after a few defeats and then getting that away victory, obviously, last week? Can we follow up with a home win? And we did. And we got the clean sheet. So you can't really grumble at that too much, albeit we will go through a few of the points, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think I echo that. Like watching it, it took me back to kind of the Southampton win at home, 1-0, the Everton 2-1, and yeah, I think you're right. Like, other than the Brentford game, I don't think we've been particularly convincing at all at home. And it's, I mean, like you say, I think the most important thing was to back up the victory against Everton with a win today. And that's like back-to-back wins. Next thing is, can you put 3-4 wins together in a row? Because as Gary's commented there, are we destined to be 11th forever? And that's the thing. Like, we keep winning, or we seem to get a couple of wins, and then we don't move anywhere in the table. And it's about those 3 or 4 wins in a row, isn't it?
Well, it does say a lot for Villa, I think, really, that, I mean, you need to be careful what you wish for sometimes, because I do think there's a lot of teams that are below us that would probably have thought they might have been around about us this season. When you talk about the likes of, of a West Ham, a Wolves, a Leicester, I'd even dare say, teams like probably, Southampton and the Leeds might have thought they might have had better seasons. So when you look at where we are in the league, I mean, it feels like probably are going to be 11th until we will die, but the way it's going, win or lose. But it's crazy because we've now got a 7-point gap between the two teams below us. And yet, if you went 7 points up on what we are, we'd be fifth or joint fifth. So it just goes to show that there is basically two leagues now, effectively this season. And I know a win. I don't think we lose 3 in a row. It brings everyone back closer to us. We win 2, it extends it. But really, we're kind of like we're just past halfway in the season, aren't we? Or a bit further past halfway, getting towards the business end, and we're an established top 11 team now. So we're not that far away from being that. What does top 10 really mean? It means sod all, really, does it? Because psychologically, you're one of the better teams in the Premier League. But really, I think we should be having grander ambitions than that. And, it was interesting, actually. I was listening to Talk Sport on the way back. I've kind of got out of my head a little bit that Villa this season in terms of an ambitious finish. And when I heard Jamie O'Hara and good old Gabby, talking about Middlesbrough, and then they were talking about how well they're doing and where they come from. Then they were talking to a Brighton fan. And this Brighton fan was like, oh, no, we know where we are. We know our ambitions. He's like, you're bloody 4 points off, blah, blah, whatever. And I was thinking, like, hang on a minute. Why are we not doing that? Because I know you've got Liverpool, who are in not great form. You've got Chelsea, who are in not great form. You've got Brentford, Fulham, Brighton. You've got to think you could reel a few of those in. I mean, I looked at our next 8 games. Now, you're crazy to do this as a Villa fan. But until we've got Man United in away in 9 games, there's no team across the next 8 games. I don't look at those games and think we've got a chance.
Absolutely,
none of those games. I think that. I mean, if I quickly go through the fixtures, I think we've got Bournemouth and West Ham, haven't we, coming up? West Ham have just lost 4-0 today. Bournemouth are bottom of the league. Then we've got Chelsea away. Fine, it won't be an easy game, but they're in terrible form, really. They've won today, I know. Then we've got Leicester away. Okay, fine. Admittedly, could be a tough game. They battered us at home in the end, but they've had another bad loss today against the team right at the bottom. Then we've got Forest at home. They travel terribly. Then we've got Newcastle, who are massively on a downward spiral at home. Then we've got Brentford away. And you've got Fulham at home. I mean, I know it's all like all that brilliant.
Ifs and buts. Yeah,
so that's 24 points, isn't it? But
thinking, no, I take your point. It's there to be got at, and like, look, we've been craving for consistency for so long, and these are the games that we've got to try and generate some of that consistency. Even if there's a loss in there somewhere, if you can get 5 wins out of 6 or whatever, that's consistency. So yeah, I do have to shout this out, Kev. This is our first super chat ever.
Yes,
Rich Edwards, what an absolute legend.
Yes, Rich Edwards.
And then a good comment here. We kept Zaha quiet for most of the game, and Cash was getting back to his best, and that was one of the points I wanted to make as well around Matty Cash. I've got the picture of him here, and yeah, I thought something with Emery was a lot of the play. I know we did damage them down our left, quite a lot in the first half, but a lot of, still Cash was a threat. He wasn't like that right-sided defender that stays back. That a lot of commentary has been that Emery likes to have an attacking flank and a more defensive flank, but Cash was still getting forwards and he was quite solid today.
Yeah, I've got to give Cash a bit of credit, but I think he's like a lot of our players, Cash. Like, I mean, wildly inconsistent should be like Villa do an album about this season. They should call it wildly inconsistent because a story, whatever. Because Cash, 1 minute he can't assist for Toffee and he's losing his place to a 37-year-old. But the last 2 games, maybe that breakout the team's helped him because I think he's actually been arguably one of the better players in the team in the last 2 games. So credit to him, and I think absolutely, in the last game, it was obviously up against McNeil, who I thought McNeil in the first half, he got a few crosses in the box, but I thought generally Cash kept him really quiet. And today, Zaha, I mean, I did think it was a goal. I felt I was kind of in line with it, and I thought it was a goal. I think actually they should have passed it when I thought they should have passed it because it was definitely on for the pass. But other than that, didn't really do much. Zaha, did he? Got his little bit.
I think he was probably carrying a bit of an injury still. I don't think he was fully fit, and I think they kept him on for maybe longer than they intended. But yeah, it was. From seeing it on how I managed to watch the game, if anyone's watching on YouTube, it was offside, mate. I could see it straight away. Like it was close, but it wasn't one of those that's like a toenail or anything. It was offside. I'm actually surprised that the linesman didn't pick it up because they should be highly trained and really it was a pretty good line from Villa. Having said that, that first half we were kind of treading on thin ice with that high line, weren't we? I don't know if you guys were a bit nervy in the stadium.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it reminded me a little bit when we beat Liverpool 7-2. Like, I felt the pass was always on over the top, and maybe a fully fit Zaha, and an Eze and an Elise at the top of their game, because I don't think either of them were great today.
Nah.
Yeah, no, they're both really good players, actually, very highly rated. I would, quite happy to have them in our squad. But so I don't think they were as potent as they could have been attacking wise. But yeah, it was all that. If you add that to then a little bit of nervousness at the back in terms of playing out from the back, I think there was potential for him to get at us today. But
yeah,
clean sheet.
Absolutely. I've got a few comments that I'm starring. Like I say, guys, if anyone wants to jump on the show with me and Kev tonight, I've pinned the link to the show in the chat on YouTube. It's just at the top. Just click on, come and say hello, come and give your thoughts on the game, and give your reactions. You're more than welcome. And come on and stay on as long as you want. Say your piece, jump off, stay on, whatever you want to do. But yeah, it'd be good to see you. Mark says 2 nervy in the end, but another 3 points. 22 points from Unai's first 12 games. Only Liverpool, Man United, Man City, and Arsenal have taken more points in the time he's been in charge. Says it all, really, doesn't it? To be fair. And,
Yeah,
I know I was calling, after those 3 defeats, but like those 2 wins back to back make it much better now, don't they?
They absolutely do. And I saw a table earlier on social media where I thought it had us as 4th. Maybe with what Mark said, it's 4th or 5th. But we're talking about a team that under a long time now since Emery's been in charge. He's had a number of games he's been in charge, and to be 4th or 5th in terms of the form guide over that amount of games is a tremendous performance, really. And streaky, inconsistent teams are going to sometimes lose, 3 in a row. Let's not forget 2 are against Man City and Arsenal. So and the other one was against a Leicester team that then beat Tottenham by 4. So they obviously had a little bit of a purple patch themselves. So not suggesting that there wasn't things we did wrong in those games. We could have been better, but you ain't going to win every game. Arsenal had a patch that they've got 1 point out of 9. So listen, I mean, long may it continue. I'm just waiting for us to start playing well.
Yeah. No, it's been good away from home, hasn't it? Solid away from home, but I totally get your point. And a couple more comments. Adam says, problem is we'll say this and lose to West Ham when you were going through your games. Need our squad to keep fit now, but with Basin, Stoke, Bailey and on the nitrous oxide and Kamara injured, it would be a struggle. We'll come on to that in a bit. Gary, particularly about Kamara. Mcginn looking good and bossed it. Yeah, we'll come out again. Lovely to see Mcginn almost back to his best, which was great. You were talking about the playing out from the back, Kevin. The one moment where it did click, or one of the few moments in the first half, particularly where it did click, was obviously led to the goal. And Mcginn, where Rich says there, bossed it. Beautiful pass. We broke the lines. Beautiful pass from Mcginn to release Cash, and then straight across. And I really don't know what Anderson was doing, but just got in a complete mess. And 1-0 up, own goal.
It was great. It was the first great bit of play really that we'd had in the game, because it was a great pass through from McGinn. Cash bombing on, doing what he doesn't do probably often enough. Puts a good ball across the box, and I mean Anderson, you've seen it happen time and time again. He knows Watkins is behind him, and he knows Watkins in the rich vein of form that he's in. He's probably gonna snaffle up that chance. So he tries to do something with it and ends up getting himself in an absolute mess and putting it past his own keeper.
Yeah. was it a bit of disbelief in the crowd? Was it a bit of were you all laughing or what? What was the situation?
Well, I mean, it was fantastic. Obviously, it went in just after. Obviously, I thought we'd gone 1-0 down like that long before, and then I thought, hang on a minute, we go ahead quite a lot in the home games.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
What's going to happen next? So I was a bit nervy then after that, but no, it was all jubilant. Yeah, absolutely.
They kept reminding about that on the commentaries, just saying, Villa don't hold on to leads very well, and they've conceded so many goals in the second half and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, it was nice to get that goal. And then sort of towards the end of that first half, I thought Watkins had a quiet sort of first 30 minutes, but then came into it the last 15 minutes of that first half where he had that run out where he did really well from the edge of the box. But the moment where you think he's going to make it 6-6, does everything right with the touch, with the run, but just couldn't finish.
Yeah, I felt like if the goal had been another sort of like foot to the right, because he was leaning his body to the left, he probably could have took another touch. I'll have to see it back, but obviously you clearly see what he's trying to do. He's obviously already like aiming. He really wouldn't have been able to put it in the right hand side of the goal because he was already aiming too far away, and he just shaved the post, didn't it? By all accounts.
Yeah, hit the post. Yeah. So,
Should have been a goal.
you can't really blame him for it. It was a beautiful pass from Buendia. Again, probably the best thing that Buendia did all game. We'll come on to him a little bit and a couple of the performances of some of the players. But yeah, just a bit unlucky to be fair. But that was a frustration because going in at 2-0 at half time, that would have been pretty much game over.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's the thing for Villa. Sometimes that you're not killing games. We did it against Everton, obviously, didn't we? When Buendia came on, we did it well, and that's when you start to feel a little bit more reassured. But 1-0 against a team, against any team in the Premier League, any team, I don't care who it is, 1-0 is a dangerous score. 2-0 is a dangerous score, of course, because of the momentum of getting one goal. But you get a free kick. I mean, look at Arsenal today. I looked at half time. They had 84% possession. I don't know what it was at the end of the game, but it was 84% possession, 1-0 down. The next thing they're 2-0 down from a set piece goal. It can happen to anybody. And that's where I think Emery will want us to be improving, really, whether that's going to be this season. But when you've got a team like Palace today who are not really at the races, not playing particularly well, that should be a 2 or 3-0 victory for a team that is aspiring to be one of the better teams in the league.
Yeah, I agree. Rich says P. Watkins missed that chance, the best move in the game. And it meant he had 0 shots on target, unfortunately. Gary's there mentioned Palace were very poor and nothing else but a win would have been a travesty. Thoughts on Palace, mate?
Yeah, they've not won for absolutely ages, have they?
Nah. I don't really know what they were trying to do. Like, they didn't seem like the first half, obviously, if they got that early goal, that would have been perfect for them. But they just didn't seem to have much threat going forward. They didn't, like Eze, like you say, Eze and Elise, very highly rated players, didn't really beat anyone, didn't really get around anyone. Kind of, I remember Eze sort of terrorizing us earlier on this season, and then previous seasons, even when he's played for QPR, running with the ball. I just didn't see a lot from them, and then obviously getting frustrated with things not going for them or whatever it was, the game plan, and then obviously led to one of their players getting sent off for 2 pretty bad challenges, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were pretty unimpressive today. And it's a funny one, isn't it? Because it's weird how like the optics of football work, aren't they? Because if you look at Palace, they've not spent loads of money, so they maybe wouldn't have expected to finish, any great shakes in the league, but they're 12th in the league. And they're probably far enough away from the relegation. But okay, 6 points.
Only 6 points off, and they're on like a really bad run.
But this is how I feel about Birmingham City. Birmingham City for the last 3 or 4 years have been terrible generally, but there's been so many teams below them that are way worse that you'd need all of those teams to get past it.
Yeah. They'll beat one or 2 of them at home, won't they? That's the thing.
Something will happen. I know what you mean. It's only 6 points, but you need 9 other teams that are not in great form to get past you. And maybe I think a Wolves probably will and a Leicester will, but so no, it's a funny one, Palace, because one of those things, isn't it? Probably like the same reason Gerrard and Lampard got jobs, but I'm not suggesting Vieira won't be a good manager. But he started off pretty well, and because he's Patrick Vieira, Arsenal legend and World Cup winner, and obviously fantastic Premier League player, one of the Premier League legends, does he get a bit more leeway in terms of when his team aren't doing much? I don't really know what they're about. Palace, the one thing they've got, which we've talked about many times when we talked about Palace on pods, is they're a physical team. And I didn't think actually they were particularly clever today physically. I thought they were actually
no, mate. I was expecting them to kind of dominate us in midfield, but I thought we handled it really well.
Yeah.
And Mcginn was all over. Like I don't know. I just didn't feel like they didn't have that spirit that Palace have had in the past. They just didn't seem to be working that well for each other. And yeah, I mean they've won 1 game in 12.
Seems like that run is really that they're on is really hitting them. Really hitting them hard, and obviously without obviously having their talisman playing as well. Yeah, I mean,
they've got Man City next.
Yeah, and they've lost loads. They had 3 consecutive draws against Brighton, Palace, Liverpool. They lost to United. They're doing Newcastle, I mean, they're not doing much. They're either losing or drawing. So if you're going on that kind of run, you're not expecting to win. You go a goal down with an unlucky goal. The belief it didn't look like they had much belief today, which makes me also think Villa at home just about getting a 1-0 win against a team and that kind of form. Yeah, I mean, we got to win. So, we've got to be happy, but I felt like it could have been a bit more convincing.
Definitely. Some more comments coming in. We've got Richard said our in-game management is getting better, feeling more confidence in defence, knocking it about. How did you feel about the kind of playing it around the back? I didn't feel like the fans were too much. I did feel there was a bit of tension when they went down to 10 men. Obviously, we'll comment on that. But yeah, I felt there was a bit of tension because I felt like the fans wanted the players to go forward a little bit more.
Yeah, my view on it is that it's happening under Emery, so we kind of got to deal with it. And if there is the odd slight nervy moment, where maybe they get pressed a bit too much in the ball, then you got to deal with that. Although there was a couple of times today where like it nearly shot us in the foot. Definitely. I just like there to be a bit more urgency. We've talked about this a lot on pods, being Villa fans for well over a year now, under different managers.
Yeah.
But I just think sometimes I wish there was a bit more tempo. I say to my lad all the time about playing football, even when it's on FIFA or watching telly or he's playing football himself, I'm saying, you got to take the opportunity to go on the front foot. When that pass comes into you, get your first touch to be in the direction that you're traveling. In amount of times, I think we could just progress the ball quicker, just quicker. And look, you maybe make a space by going across from left to right and into the middle, then back to the fullbacks, and you kind of get there. But there's times I just think a bit of momentum, get forward, get it wider quicker, and I think you'll have more joy. Although saying that, I did feel like we were deliberately a bit more considered today.
Yeah.
I think that was actually a tactical move because we'd had quite fast starts, and then game had been a bit like a basketball game in previous games. I thought it was almost a bit more like an away performance today at times.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess it takes the other team to kind of come at you a little bit as well, which they didn't necessarily do too much. Quick look at the stats before we go through some of the performances. As I say every week, guys, thank you so much for the support and the comments. It's great comments coming in. Please do drop a like on the video if you haven't already, and please do subscribe if you are new. We're growing all the time, heading on to the 1,050 mark, which is brilliant. So yeah, please do hit that subscribe button. Help us spread the word of the channel. And if you do feel like you want to help us contribute to the channel, please do hit the dollar sign and contribute. Rich has done it today, which is absolutely amazing. Anyone else, that'd be phenomenal. So yeah, hit that button, and if you'd want to donate to the channel, that'd be great. So yeah, looking at the stats, Kev. 58% possession for Villa, 42% for Palace. Only one shot on target for us. I think that was the Mcginn chance in the second half, because obviously the own goal can't count. 8 shots in total for us. Plenty of passes, like you say, very considered in terms of our passing. More tackles for Palace, more clearances for us. And then, yeah, a few yellow cards in the second half and a red card, obviously, for Palace. So, again, fairly solid performance, but just shows you that Palace didn't do anything at all in that game to try and win it, really. And like I said, I don't really know what they were trying to do. And it was just a shame that we couldn't get that second goal to kind of cap the performance off, I guess.
Palace had 3 shots, 0 on target.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just listen to that. That's absolutely awful. That's a team you think would be at the bottom of the league. I think they've got enough points on the board. I think they'll be okay, but maybe it's because of the way they play. There wasn't too much space for us to play in. They didn't go for it. They were a bit more sort of slow and methodical and considered, and trying to maybe catch us out over the top a couple of times with the through balls. Maybe if they had done that, there would have been more opportunities for us. But I think the onus is on you at home to make a bit more of the play. And when you look at some of those stats and you realise what we were up against today, both in terms of a performance and in terms of the statistical output, then yeah, maybe that to only get a goal 1-0 win from an own goal is and have one shot on target is a bit of a concern, really.
Yeah, I mean, no one's gonna care if we beat West Ham or move on, and win other games. It'll just be one where you look at the stats at the end of the season, and go, oh yeah, we beat Palace, and we've won 10 games in the season now, which is pretty decent. We don't draw many, so it's just such a shame we haven't moved up the league. But I don't know. Gary says we're finally beating teams in and around us for a change, which is good. I think Rich says he's commenting on Decore. Should have gone a long time before the challenge he did get sent off for. Two legends at the game today, Juan Pablo and Dino. Great stuff. And also Gary said we were better for me when we just kicked it to halfway and hoped for flick-ons, playing from the back as a place, but not always. Yeah, I think we did. It was good when we mixed it up a bit. And like kind of sucked them in. I'd like us to do that a little bit quicker, like you say, Kev, a bit more tempo to it. Look for balls down the channels. We don't play well against 10. Agree with Kevin. We move the ball too slowly for me, if Rich is honest. Yeah, I agree. Deontay's in the house said, I had the feeling that Villa would keep a clean sheet in this game because Emery said in his pre-match press conference yesterday that the goal was to keep a clean sheet at home. Yeah. And it was also Emery's first win against Palace in 4 attempts. Palace have a very attacking team, but Vieira has turned them into Dulchester United. Yeah, I think he could be under pressure. Martin's distribution was better today and time wasting was down to minimal. Yeah, it was better. We've got to talk about it, mate. Boubacar Kamara.
Yeah, well,
bad injury.
Let's just talk about you mentioned it obviously earlier in terms of the the refs and stuff, but I think this is getting to a point now where like something's got to be done about this, because there's two things for me. There's the repetition of fouls today that should have been a yellow card way earlier, and that keeps on the pitch longer to then potentially, and who knows how serious the injury is. Hopefully, they say it's a muscle shin muscle injury. So, I mean, it's not Achilles, it's not knee, it's not it's not groin, it's not something that could be out for a period of time, and who knows how severe it is. But the point is that I think that should have been dealt with earlier. There was a lot of fouls going on that I don't think were punished well enough, and when you add to that, I mean, if it was offside, apparently it was way more offside than I thought it was. There was another one where it was clearly offside and the linesman didn't give anything. It was almost like an ironic cheer at the start of the game when it was just so offside. So you've got a point where you're allowing play to go on when you know that it's definitely out, but you're just waiting for some computer to tell you it's definitely out. And we know what one day someone's going to get a really bad injury, someone's sliding into a keeper, head injury, something's going to happen. And we also see a situation where the referees are either overly gung-ho and giving too many yellow cards, or they're giving nothing. Yeah. The inconsistency is crazy. And this is a guy that's been probably, arguably up there for player of the season for us, Kamara, with his injury, enforcement aside. And he's got a real good thing going on with Louise. McGinn's into some really, really good form. And that midfield now, we're looking at what we're going to do. We can't get Tim back from QPR. So is it going to be Chambers in that holding role, or is he going to have to play McGinn there, which he doesn't want to do?
I know.
It's rubbish, really. And it was a really bad tackle when you see it back.
What's up with Dendoncker? Because he wasn't on the bench today. Is he just carrying a little knock, or?
So, I mean, apologies to those that were looking for a preview show last night. Rich and I both weren't feeling great.
It's been a busy week.
Yeah, so apologies for those that are waiting around for it. But one of the things I was going to mention was Dendonker's it's apparently personal reasons why he's not in the team.
Oh, okay.
So, wish him all the best, obviously. I'm not sure what's going on, but he'd be the natural replacement. I'm saying if he's not, for whatever reason, available. Then
100%. Yeah. But yeah, you've got to hope that it's just keeping him out for this week and then be back for next week, and then hopefully it's not too serious for Kamara and he's back after the international break, because we've obviously got West Ham and then Bournemouth, then it's an international break, so gives him a bit more time, and then we've got 3 games, like you say, in a week with Chelsea, Leicester, and then Forest. So hopefully he's back for then. Couple of sort of, I guess, frustrating performances and players who. Well, first up, Emery Buendia. I don't know what your thoughts of him were for the game, but for me, it's that same old story with Buendia where he plays so well when he comes on against Everton. He's almost got that fire in his belly to do something. And then today, barring a couple of passes, I thought second half, giving the ball away like nobody's business, and it's just so frustrating to see him not quite hit the heights when he gets to start.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen various people's reactions on Twitter and other sites, and seemingly a lot of people were saying they thought Ben Buendia was one of the best players. So that was man of the match. I didn't see it. I think he did a really, really nice assist for Watkins' chance, which he should have scored. So he should really have got an
Yeah,
assist.
yeah,
Really. I mean, that's unfortunate. And look at what he did when he came on against Everton. He was involved, obviously, when he came on, scored a great goal. So, there's clearly the ability there to affect things. But as we know, I don't think he's got an assist all season. Now, I think he has got quite a lot of high chance creating. So that's maybe more down to our finishing ability than his ability to create chances. But you summed it up with what you said, mate. I think there's 6 words that sum up Buendia constantly in the Villa team. Gives the ball away too easily. It's just... It's
yeah,
constant. It's not gives the
yeah,
ball away. It's gives the ball away too easily. And that's because I think of his size.
yeah,
I just think if someone goes in for a 50-50 and he tries to bounce them off him, invariably he'll bounce a bit further the wrong way than they do. And then they're in, and retaining the ball, passing it trying passes when he shouldn't be trying passes. I know sometimes you've got to try and be ambitious with a pass to try and create stuff, but yeah, it was a frustrating performance again from Buendia today. It was.
yeah. And then, I mean, like he does. I think he deserves a run in the team, definitely. But and then also, do you get a slightly more isolated Watkins because Buendia likes to drop deeper for the ball? Like I just think it's an area that we're going to obviously have to improve for the team moving forward for next season. And Emery's seen it because the other player that kind of is tasked with getting closer to Watkins and carrying the ball is Jacob Ramsey. And again, like what I'm not quite sure with Ramsey at the moment is he hasn't got the next part. What I mean by that is he'll run with the ball, but he's running with the ball without an intention. He's running with the ball without knowing what he wants to do with it.
Yeah.
Like he runs into the box, and is he running into the box for the intention to cross it? Is he running into the box for the intention to lay it off to a player? Is he
Yeah.
running in the box with the intention to shoot? At the moment, it's almost as if Emery said, when you get it, just run with it. And that's exactly what he's doing.
I think you're onto a bit of a thread here, mate, in terms of an idea, because I think both Buendia and Ramsey are probably symptomatic to the reason why we didn't have more success going forward today. I just don't think they were both close enough to Watkins. I mean, at times Mcginn was the closest one to him, so you can sort of see how his role's changed in the team. But I don't think either of them are either creating enough of the right kind of things, but also just affecting the game enough. And Ramsey, again, is he in the team because one in every 10 games he'll go on a bursting run and get a shot off and he'll get a goal? And I think he could go on a purple patch of scoring like he did last season and get a few goals. But at the moment, he's not doing much. He's not really like retaining the ball that well. He's not really passing it that well. He's getting knocked off the ball a bit too easily as well. And I don't really see him going on those long busting runs enough. So when you put those two in a team and then you think about, the inconsistency of Coutinho's and Bailey's around them, it's thankful that McGinn's back to some kind of form, because otherwise, you'd have Louise and Kamara, and they're not a huge amount in front of them. And it probably was why Watkins didn't do a fat lot today.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is we've got that stability behind him, but they are going to have to book their ideas, especially with Kamara not in the team for a couple of weeks. And yeah, it is one of those. It's a quandary for any manager because, I mean, Gary's just said there, Ramsey was nowhere near again, but Bailey was a little bit was more tidy off the bench. And
Bailey was terrible when he came on. I mean, I don't know how it's made me.
I thought he was good. I thought he was good. Yeah,
I
thought he was good.
He kept making terrible passes. I don't know. I mean, I don't know
No,
whether it was
made a good. He set up McGinn for his chance.
That for me is Bailey will do that every game. He'll put in like a 1 or 2 good balls. That was kind of
that's the same as Buendia, though, isn't it?
It probably is. I feel the issue of Bailey, which is why I think I single him out so much, is the amount of terrible passes he does. I mean, there was one when he trapped back and
Oh yeah, no, he did. Yeah, if you watch that on the telly though, he did brilliantly to get back. He did absolutely brilliantly to get back to tackle.
He did. I saw it. Do you know what it reminds me of? Do you ever like see my daughter's doing this? You like, your kids play football when they're like 4 or 5 years old, and they've got no concept of how hard to kick the ball. So when they
Yeah,
pass it to you from 2 yards away, they'll toe poke it at your nether regions.
yeah.
Bailey doesn't know how hard to kick the ball. He either kicks
Yeah.
it too soft or too hard. He just no in between.
I'll give him his dues. That was he was clearing it with his weak foot. But yeah, no, I totally agree. But I thought I agree with Gary there. I thought he was pretty tidy when he came on. We didn't give him the ball enough because we kept giving it away. Like Chambers did okay as the game went on, but he's obviously not Kamara, so we lost a lot of control in that midfield. And Mcginn even summed it up with his full-time comments. So just about when they went down to 10 men, we gave the ball away far too often, and that just meant that, like I say, Watkins and when Duran came on, and obviously Bailey, if he gets the ball more, he can probably be more of a threat and do a little bit more. But we just couldn't get the ball to him, so he was constantly giving it away.
Yeah, I will sound Bailey as well. Like, when the ball goes out to him on the right wing, there's just such anticipation and expectation that he's going to do something. And I just think that he generally ever does. I mean, obviously, he went outside, he went on the outside and put that good cross in, which fair enough, was a good opportunity. But I felt the rest of the time he looked like he was going to keep losing it, come back inside. But there was then one situation on the break. I don't know if it was from the corner of theirs or something. But I was like, oh my God, look at Duran there speeding up the line. And it was Bailey. And he when he
on the other side,
on the left flank, and I thought, oh my God, I was like shocked. It's Leon Bailey, everyone. I forgot that's the kind of player I thought we were getting from the Bundesliga.
Yeah. You just wonder why they don't do it. Why he doesn't do it more. They don't do what they're good. Why they don't do more of what they're good at. Mark says Ramsey's link-up play with Marino early on was excellent. Yeah, but it didn't. Yeah, I think they made some good. I think Moreno made a couple of good crosses in the box, low crosses. Maybe we're just being a little bit hypercritical. I just think it was just because Palace offered so little, and this was a similar one to when we beat Southampton. Almost like sometimes you need the opponent to come and give you a game, and I just don't feel like Palace gave us a game.
We're not very good at that. Look what happens when we go against 10 men.
Yeah.
We're not very good at it at all. We need teams to have a go at us and then to be backs against the wall. Put the low block in and then grind out a couple of goals. That's what we need to do.
Yeah. Couple of good shout outs though. John Mcginn, another tidy performance from Mcginn, and we obviously singled out Cash as well. But who would Mcginn be close to your man of the match, or would you go for another player?
No, McGinn's man of the match for me. I thought he was back to the John McGinn of old today. The player that I even thought maybe we were never going to see again. With the length of time he wasn't there, he was doing like lung busting runs. He bossed the midfield today. He really did. He was getting the ball. Really look at the size of McGinn, by the way. And this is where I think you got to look at the likes of Coutinho, Buendia, Bailey, Ramsey, etc., those that aren't looking after the ball that well. He looks after the ball really well. He rarely gets knocked off the ball. He's way stronger than I think sometimes people realise. And he twists one way, turn the other way. He was passing it well. He was doing the simple stuff. I just thought he was excellent today. Really good. I think that he was probably the reason why we kept control of that midfield pretty well.
Yeah. Just there though, Gary said that he's not scored in 40-odd games, and it would have been lovely for him to get that goal today. And I think it was Palace the last game he scored in, Palace away last season.
When he did that celebration.
Yeah.
But he, I haven't seen it back. Should he have scored it?
I don't think he necessarily had too much more of the goal to aim at. It was good cross. And then I think Anderson was sliding in here. So maybe if he'd have put it more towards that corner, he might have got a deflection or whatever, another own goal or something. But
if Anderson's sliding in, let him carry on, son. Let him carry on.
I know.
Yeah.
And then there was another one, wasn't there? There was another one where it went across and he slipped.
Yeah.
McGinn slipped. If he'd have hit that first time, that would have been a goal.
I do feel like right now in the team that McGinn being in one of those positions he plays for Scotland, i.e., so you got Watkins up top, and whether it's on the left or the right, I think it's worthy of seeing what happens to that because he has got a great shot on him.
And it stops him from he doesn't do that well. Like he'll do his best. Obviously, that's what he always does. But where his passing is called into question in those deeper positions, he just doesn't do as well there. Whereas when he's further forward, he can use his body to beat a man, and then he's right in front of goal, or he can slide someone in or whatever. So he's just much more effective in those positions.
He is. I'd like us to have a few more shots. I would, I am. It's always been my way of playing football, but buy a ticket, win a raffle. But you've got to at least try and create something, and I don't think we have enough shots from the edge of the box. Sometimes he's got a rocket of a shot on him, so I just think it'd be nice to at least give the fans something to be excited about.
Yeah, that's one thing I'd like just to work the keeper a bit more today. But look, we can't really moan. 2 clean sheets in a row. We conceded 11 goals in the 3 games previously. We were moaning about how open we were, and it was entertaining football, but you can't concede 4 goals at home 2 games in a row. So look, we can't always have it perfect. Duncan's in. Hi, Dunk. Yeah, good win, mate. Couple of I've started a couple, and I've linked it to Richard's comment as well. Gary's mentioned, is it pressure off now? Do we go for it and try a few young players? Rachel's just put, wouldn't maybe do it now because Kamara isn't playing. Stability won't be the same. And then Richard said, should Bertie get a run out? So yeah, a couple of questions in one there, mate.
Yeah, let's go for that. So I understand entirely this sort of process of let's give Caden Young and Kessler Hayden, let's give them some game time, because what have you got to lose? You ain't going down. You ain't going to probably get into Europe. However, the reason why I don't think that's the best way to do it is because the difference, I think, for us, if we could sneak somehow 6th, 7th spot in the league and get into Europe, that would rocket.
Mate, you're getting ambitious now.
Yeah, but like, how far are we? Are we off 7th in the league?
No, I know. But we know what Villa are like.
The form that we're in under Emery, we're not. I appreciate Chelsea ahead of us, right? Fulham have got 39 points in 7th, and we've got 34 points. Now, I know Brighton and Brentford only played 23, but you've still got to believe, surely. I think if you've got 5 games left and it's looking like it's not going to happen, and we're still in 11th, then go for it. Then play a few of the youngsters. Give young Feeney a go. Give Caden Young a go. Or at least blood them into the team. But I think right now you've got to be all systems go, trying to just chase people down ahead of you. Momentum's everything in football. And if you're coming like a steam train, look at what Middlesbrough do in the Championship. Sheffield United are absolutely probably pooing themselves because Borough are on a great run, aren't they? And
young Ramsey scored as well today.
Yeah. Amazingly, Archer didn't score in a 5-0 win.
I know.
Played most of the game as well.
That Chupa Akpom, who's been in football wilderness for about 5 years, is all of a sudden top scorer in the Championship.
So so basically, just to kind of just to finish that point, I don't think that's what I would do. And absolutely, Rachel's right. With Kamara out, then that weakens you even more because he's a real steady presence. So I would just continue trying to grind out results like we can. Big game. West Ham and Bournemouth is a real opportunity in the form they're in to all of a sudden, as you said earlier, if you can put 4 wins together. I mean, it sounds crazy. Even I feel like as a Villa fan, I feel like we could be in the Isthmian Premier League, and I'd still be saying, "Oh, hang on a minute, don't get too ahead of yourselves, thinking you can beat, Yateley Town or something." By the way, I meant to say this earlier. I forgot. Basingstoke, where Bailey is on loan, they're top of the league. They're top, and the league is actually the Isthmian. It's the Isthmian South Central Division League, and they're top of the league. They're now on for promotion. Bailey going there would be, I don't know if he'd get in the team at the moment.
I don't know if there's a troll, Kev, but or Nigel, but he says he's talking hot air, mate. He honestly, you should see him at work. He's just terrible.
I don't know Nigel is. Sorry, Nigel.
Thanks for watching anyway, Nigel. When Villa going to sack McPhee, we're used to sunset pieces taking or dealing with them. We didn't really have that many. I think the delivery from Palace was terrible today. But yeah, I mean, we definitely don't look like we can score from set pieces. Wasn't there one today where we tried a little bit imaginative? Am I? Was that the last game? I can't remember, but we ended up just messing it up completely.
There was one where it looked like the corner wasn't going to be taken, I think, and then he ran round to it and played it It looked like he was running across the corner instead, and then he played
Yeah,
it
there
down.
was some. I think it was in the first half. It was a complete
Yeah,
waste of time or something. So I remember the commentator saying,
yeah.
yeah, and Duncan agrees with Rich, with Michael, and with Rich that McPhee is, with Richard, sorry, that McPhee's not the greatest. Yeah, Adamski agrees. We can beat West Ham. We can definitely beat West Ham. They lost 4-0 today. Moyes in trouble. I did put a message on saying Gerrard to West Ham ?
Mm. Lampard to West Ham is a bigger show.
Lampard to West Ham. Yes.
Yeah.
He's got previous. He kept Everton up last season.
He did. They apparently, by all accounts, listening to some of the fans, they were really not good today.
No,
really not good.
No.
Mm.
Well, like I say, mate, very, very positive to get the win. Belgium Villa said we'll beat Bubbles FC. Yeah, definitely. Very positive to get the win. Takes us into West Ham next week in positive form. Villa women tomorrow as well. Got Everton. Big game for them. Do they get into the fifth place at the moment? But I think Everton are kind of sixth, so they can
big game,
extend the gap. Yeah.
To extend that lead. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we'll be watching them and seeing how they get on. Couple of questions coming in. Do you think the miss will affect Watkins?
I don't think it will. I don't think it will. I mean, I think maybe more. He had a quiet game today, didn't he? And it would have been great for him to get 6 in 6. But he's broke the record in the Premier League for Aston Villa, and that's that. And you can tell out what it meant to him, when he saw the interview afterwards. So I hope he's experienced enough and wise enough now to realise that he had a fantastic run, and then they just need to get another run going now.
He was put in. I mean, he's probably scored tougher chances than he had today, but I'm sure we'll get more chances next week. We might play a slightly different formation, slightly different team. What do you think about Duran? Do you think maybe he's that kind of adrenaline's kind of gone down from those first two appearances, and kind of Emery's just settling him, getting him settled in, and he was right in the fact that they did need to blood him in, because he looked a little bit. Well, yeah, he didn't have long enough really to make an impression, but it does speak volumes that he wasn't brought on against Everton and he only got sort of 5-10 minutes today. Like, is Emery thinking like, well, look, we just need to be really patient with him?
I think so. I think he like you saw with his chance he had. What game was that in? When he kind of, it was Arsenal, wasn't it?
Arsenal, yeah.
Yeah, when he kind of, he didn't do great. He probably should have squared, and he kind of passed it to Ramsdale. Then the chance he had today wasn't really a chance. He went for a speculative shot, and that's
he just thought I'll just smash it.
But I do think he's if you look at those attacking options alongside Watkins, if you look at Traore and Duran, they are, I think, are arguably as capable in terms of being good options as Bailey is. So there's not a plethora of people there, is there now? In terms of other strikers or wide players at the club. If you're looking at a young lad, Caden Young, so I think I might have expected him to get a few more minutes, but look, the season's still got quite a way to go, so I expect to see him. I mean, it'd be great for him to get his first goal, wouldn't it?
It would. It's just, I look at games. Maybe West Ham might be a game for him, but I just look and I think he's definitely raw, and I think Emery's kind of really conscious of that, and he has said, talk about the young players. We're giving the young players a chance. He said, like, the fact he's got 2 keepers on the bench a lot of times because he doesn't want to give these young players the wrong impression. He doesn't really think that many of them are ready to come on in games and make an impression. The ones who've gone. The ones who've gone out on loan, they're probably the closest ones to starting. The ones who are here, then they're probably not. They're probably not at that level. They'll probably go out on loan next season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it'd be interesting to see what happens with him. Really, I think raw's the right word for him. Raw's the right word. I think he's that unpredictability. I think that sometimes goes into maybe looking like you're not absolutely at the races and you're a bit all over the shop. So.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens. I'm sure he's hungry like the wolf to get an opportunity to start the game. So
never gets old, that joke. Never gets old. Quick look at the table before we finish. It's not no surprise to anyone where we are in the table. We might be, mate. We might be. For a brief moment today, though, we were 10th.
We were never, surely.
We were, mate, because Chelsea were drawing 0-0 and we were
I wish
winning
I'd checked it.
1-0. So we were 10th for a brief moment today.
Mm.
But yeah, obviously, Arsenal getting that win today. Tottenham losing to Wolves. Newcastle now. I mean, we're only 7 points off Newcastle, mate.
I know.
I mean, could
That,
it be?
they've got
Could
3
it be?
points.
Could it be a 6-pointer when they come to Villa Park?
They've got 3 points from the last 5 games. I don't even know what it's like before that, but they drew the first 3 of those 5 and they've lost the last 2. So they're, and obviously they lost the Carabao Cup final. Guimaraes has had a few injury issues. They're nowhere near the form that they were in. They've got a tricky home game against Wolves next, and then away at Forest, and then Man United. So they've not got I guess you could. The thing is, when you're in the Premier League, you could say, "Oh, tricky trip away to Bournemouth, and then home at Everton." You can make every game sound tricky, but we have to believe. We absolutely have to believe. And this is what I was saying. We had obviously a little bit of chat in our pod the other day, didn't we, about our pod WhatsApp group about whether if Newcastle, win the Carabao Cup, what it means. And I was saying I want them to be kept down as long as possible. And people were saying, we're not competing with Newcastle. Well, I think we are competing with Newcastle. I don't think they've got an amazing squad.
No, they've found their level now, and I think, without being disparaging about Newcastle or Eddie Howe, like this is kind of what Eddie Howe was like at Bournemouth. Like I think he's got a plan A. He's a plan A manager, and when it's working really well, they've got a really physical and strong and fast team. But when they get found out, he hasn't really got a plan B. They're kind of getting found out at the moment. And got Wolves next game, and Wolves obviously picked up a good win. The Wolves aren't a bad side.
No, not at all.
It's just their position. The position in the league isn't great. But look at this though. Chelsea only scored 24 goals. I mean, we've only scored 31.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
some of the goals, like the lack of goals in this Premier League, is terrible. Really, you got Everton with 17 goals scored, Nottingham Forest with 18, Wolves with 19, Palace with 21. Like, there's not a lot of value. There's not a lot of value for money in this league. They keep going on about being the best league in the world. But
I know.
It's not.
Everton's 17 goals in 25 games. That's atrocious.
Yeah. I mean, terrible.
I'll tell you a bigger picture we got to look forward to, mate. Obviously, Brentford and Fulham have got. Brentford and Brighton have got 2 games in hand on us, but Brentford have got a trip to. I think Brentford are playing Fulham in the week. We've got to probably hope for a draw to that game. How crazy is that? We're hoping Brentford and Fulham draw for our league ambitions, but Brentford have got. They've not the last 5. They've got 9 points. Fulham have got 8 points from the last 5, so their recent form's better than ours. We need those guys to slow down a bit. I'm expecting Chelsea to probably at some point kick on. That win today might be the catalyst for them. With the squad they've got, it's good enough. So if you're thinking that they might stay ahead of you, Brentford, Brighton, Fulham, the ones we've got to try and reel in, and then who knows with the rest.
Yeah. Belgium Villa says top 7 talk. We never learn. I know, mate. We can't help it. Gary says sub on the time. Rich said crawling back in slowly but surely. We keep on this momentum. You never know. Absolutely. Rachel says Dendon could be around, but depends on the time he needs off for his circumstances. Yeah, definitely. We need mass hypnosis to believe. Yeah. Oil Castle are falling down the table. About time Eddie Howe's Looney Tune army had something go wrong with them. When are we playing Newcastle? I think it's April. I think it's 15th of April, so just after Easter.
Definitely.
Yeah. Fraser's thrown his tantrum at Newcastle. Yeah, Rachel had April. Yeah. Adamski defending has been better all round. That's why it's so tight at the bottom. Yeah. I just think teams we're saying we need more shots. I just think teams aren't having that many shots.
Well, I think that's probably been quite kind to the defenders there. I think it's just not very good attackers. You look at some of the attackers in some of those teams, and Wolves have got no strikers that can score. Everton have got anyone that can score. Southampton, rely on
teams don't play with 2 strikers and stuff now, do they? They don't put it. We were saying today, wanting to play a little bit more direct and play in their half. Teams are kind of knocking it around in their own half for more of the time and trying to set up moves rather than trying to win second balls.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, Dunk said there 7 to 8th finish is very doable for Villa. Let's leave it there. Thank you for everyone watching. Thank you for your comments. Always great. If you are new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. Everyone who's watching, please do hit that like button to help us spread the word of the channel. We are, like I say, on the way to over 1,050, which would be amazing. Kev, thank you so much. We'll be back in the week. Look out for the Talking Tactics show, which has been going down amazingly from Gareth.
Great shows.
Myself and Gareth will be jumping on that in the week. We'll be doing a preview we'll definitely do a preview for West Ham, possibly a Bodymore Bulletin show in the week as well. So plenty of content coming through. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification. And if you do want to help support the channel, whenever we're on the live shows or whenever we are, whenever you can comment, please hit that dollar button and help sort of contribute to the channel. Any donations are more than appreciated. Like I say, Kev, thank you very much for joining me. Last thing to remember is we won, and remember, we'll follow the Villa.
Keep that dream alive.